body camera shows a Wauwatosa officer sprinting to catch a man. When they arrive in a courtyard, this.
So it starts off this news story just like you would. You wake up at 6 a.m. getting ready for your shift at 7 or whatever, and you see something pop up on your phone saying, hey, police pursuit, body-worn camera footage, check it out. And, as a fellow law enforcement guy, I'm like, oh, let's watch this. This is great. And then I see something like this. It's ending in somewhere. It looks like this is the end of the chase. They put it at the beginning of this news story. I've never found news stories, though, when it comes to police officers being shed in a positive light, but okay. This looks like we're getting to some kind of public housing area. Okay, you've got somebody running from the cops. Okay, we know this song and dance. And then, we hear some video, and then we hear some audio. That doesn't sound good, right? That doesn't sound good at all. You got the kids screaming. That part I'm not worried about. You got the female in the back you heard screaming. I'm not really worried about that because folks who see these things happen right in front of them, it can shock them. I get that. It's the officer. It's the officer. I want you to picture yourself as the guy with the pants right there. All right? You are with multiple cops chasing this individual. It's high stress, high anxiety situation, and you're coming to the close, right? We're getting to the finish line. We got the guy cornered. We're going to we're going to detain him, put him in cuffs. It's going to be great. High fives back at the station. Roll call is going to be great. Instead, this officer here, whose body-worn camera we're looking at, he comes up and he says, "Show me your effing hands." He says, "Show me your effing hands." After he says, "Get on the ground," then he says, "Show me your effing hands." Then get on the ground. Then he has to go up there and he has to dry stun the guy apparently. It's just what a terrible way to end your apprehension of this individual who left you. Now, how do we get in this situation here? That's also a point that I'd like to make. But as we take a look at this, right off the bat, that's what I want to talk about. Why do you need that? But before we get into that point, let's see how this all started.
Friday, October 6th. Prosecutors say this all started minutes earlier when an officer stopped a car on North 94th Street.
Okay, so the events leading up to this was this vehicle was stopped. It was observed, seen violating some traffic laws, and the vehicle was pulled over. Now, look, we have 4 officers approaching this vehicle during the time of either the traffic stop or immediate contact with the driver. It is learned to the officers that there is a felonious warrant for the individual driving this vehicle. Hence the 4 people. Most traffic stops I made was either with myself or a partner or just by myself with a signal 2 coming with. Okay. But they obviously see something is amiss, or this requires additional force or presence. Now, as they show up in loose formation, you have the driver contact officer right there. He's the one who's going to conduct the stop, do the questioning, ask questions, obtain identification. You've got the guy right behind him on the driver's side who's looking to provide that immediate support there should anything happen on the driver's side. And then you've got the 2 other officers on the passenger side. They're taking a look in the vehicle. They're seeing it, make sure it's clear if there's anything in there or anyone in there that they need to know about, and make sure the scene is safe. The way that they're set up right now, you've got that one, the officer that's closest to the passenger side who's right there on the tailgate. He's looking in there straight ahead into it, and then you've got the one standing out there further on the curb. He's kind of taking a look in there as well, but he's got a different angle. That's important, that is. But let's see how it turns out.
The criminal complaint says an officer asked Robert Job to get out of the car because he had an open felony warrant. A squad camera captures an...
Now, do you see that? You have this, the news does it great because it shows the individual's face and there's a felonious warrant out, and this officer making contact. Look at their positioning. Look at the guy behind him who's supposed to back him up. Look at this. Felonious warrant. When you hear that, even if you're not a cop, when you hear felonious warrant, the hairs on the back of your neck should stand up. You should feel a little uneasy because that's a serious term. They're not taking it this way. All right. When you roll up 4 deep to a car and you obviously have a plan in place, but for God's sakes, execute that plan. The moment that door opens up, there's no, "Hey, sir, you have a warrant." There's none of that. You don't let them know that until you have control of them so they don't react. for their safety, for everyone's safety, right? That's why you do it. It's not to surprise them. It is to surprise them. But the primary motive to that is not to surprise, is to achieve control of the situation as quickly as you can and keep everybody safe in the process. The guy would just be put in cuffs and he'd be taken to the station and processed. Okay, easy day. Don't let the emotions that he's about to have churn up inside of him the moment he hears he has a felonious warrant to cause him to do something stupid, which will be this right here.
An officer opening the door, then the car.
Oh my gosh, I hate seeing that. I hate seeing that because it's so dangerous. So you have this door open. You have a suspect with a felonious warrant. The door opens up and nothing happens. The cop does not reach in there to extract him from the vehicle. The guy behind him doesn't rush forward and say, hey man, get him. Something. Instead, it's like, oh, let's let him step out on his own accord. And this is where community policing, especially in the light of all that crap that happened years ago with BLM and all that whatnot, has paralyzed us from doing the right thing, it seems. And this is the reverberating effect of that. We got to shake that off. Get in there, cross-face the guy, go for a seatbelt, get control of his body, attain control of that left arm, bring it out there across the B column, put him in the straight arm bar, and then start getting compliance through pain and positioning. Do it that way. Do it that way every time. Should not be any different. That's how you extract somebody. If for some reason he's not giving you your hands, it should already be trained that you go for the legs, pull them out. These are the things that we train on completely and just down to the nth degree to make sure we got all of our guys in line to get this right, because this is the most dangerous thing. I talked about on my podcast before about my buddy Vinny, who went in there and he got a little bit of trouble for saying a curse word, but his extraction of the person was completely right. There was this whole outcry about, him cross-facing the person and it's, excessive force. No, that's what you do, because it's one of the most dangerous things you can do possibly. Bracing that person up against the seat to get control of them is the absolute right move every time. But instead, when you lose control like this, you try to regain control in some kind of just poor attempt by putting yourself in a moving vehicle now to stop the person. No, let it go. You can train this. You can train for this. You can set this up where it's just you talk about disengaging. You have somebody go in there, you have your, it's either the end of the shift or in the middle of the shift and it's real quiet. Take a couple officers off to the side, use your patrol car, have everybody clear their weapons, so if they need to respond to something, they can do so quickly, that kind of thing. But you set up this training. Set up this training, sergeants, friggin' street supervisors, to do this where it's engaging quick violence of action, getting the person out, showing the pain compliance, if you got to do the cross arm or anything like that, the cross face, the straight arm bar, whatever. You're doing it, and then you have somebody then, okay, after 3 seconds, start rolling forward in the vehicle. The moment that officer feels that vehicle start to roll, you get out. That is super dangerous. A buddy of mine, Logan, he got dragged. Okay, he got dragged for yards and yards and yards, and because his arm got caught because he was reaching in, and then with that feeling, with that heightened sense of, oh my God, this guy just put an officer's life in danger. No, the officer put his own life in danger as far as that goes, unnecessarily. But this just ramps up the situation. So then when we do capture this guy and we're high strung on emotion and adrenaline, we might do something stupid and overly forceful. That's what we're drawing ourselves to by making these mistakes.
Pulls away. Watch again. Prosecutors say the driver dragged an officer before the officer could.
What was he trying to achieve there? What was he trying to achieve? He just kind of had his arm in there. Wasn't the guy holding on to him, I can tell you that. So that's what it needs to be intentional. You got to have the primary and the secondary objectives here. It's okay, our primary objective is to extract this guy. We're going to get in here and take control of this guy. If not, if he breaks away, we are going to have everybody in place to do this, to do a vehicle pursuit, because we train on that as well. At least have something intentional in place for this versus guys just walking up and then they're all just kind of loose and just kind of hanging out and something happens. Oh crap, this happened. Come on, you can train for that.
Get away from the car.
Now look where we are. It is at night. It's been raining. There's traffic out there. This is the worst scenario. Aside from it being some kind of rush hour scenario where there's a bunch of traffic out there, but you've got slick roads. You've got at nighttime. It looks like, I'm not sure where Zulu time is there, but it's going to be later in the evening, but possibly not in the morning. So there's still going to be traffic. you've just injected yourself into this situation that's going to be worse. Traffic accidents, fatalities on the road, like these are all possibilities now. And now we're in it. Now we have to salvage the situation.
Prosecutors say in total, Job drove in the car for around 3 miles and reached speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour.
100 miles an hour. Like right there. See that person there? That's somebody who you're in charge of as far as safety goes. And now we have this guy, this reckless driver, he's putting him up. This could all have been prevented. But luckily, now that because sometimes, sometimes situations unravel and they get out of control and you regain control. I will say that this officer here who's following is giving direction, speed, and traffic on the road pretty well and calm. That's helping that supervisor here that his officers have it under control. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, he's going northeast at 110 miles an hour, there's light traffic, and you don't sound in control, they're going to terminate that. You're not in control. That's your job as a cop, is to be in control. And they're going to just terminate that pursuit. In our department, we always, at the time, before they started changing the policies to take it back to the criminals, I guess, allowing more pursuits, it was DUIs and direct connection to a violent offense that happened recently with that vehicle. So that vehicle, this vehicle was linked to a carjacking or a robbery or anything like that, then yes, we pursue. And then, we do a felony stop. Or if it's a DUI, the guy is just all over the place, blowing stop signs, just looks like a DUI. That's a public safety issue. But anything else, then they take off, we turn off lights, and we turn around. That's just what we did. So with this was rare for us. So like it really made a difference. If you're like, oh crap, this could be a pursuit. Let's make it count. All right, we're heading north on Compostela. We're going 45 miles an hour, no traffic. Just passed through this intersection. Going 50 miles an hour, no traffic. Heading north on this, still 50 miles an hour, no traffic. Looks like we're going to make a right turn heading east on this road. Light traffic. That's it. That's the cadence. You just got to take a breath. Heading this way, going this way. This is the traffic. That's what you got to do. All right, that's how you keep that going. And this officer is doing that to credit them.
Prosecutors say Job left the car.
And then the ghost driver scenario. The ghost driver scenario always happens. But they did a great job following the age-old adage, you cannot run a radio and a V8. You really can't. So, but then it all comes down to all this great work salvaging the situation. The police officer rolls up and was the first, he says, show me your hands and get on the effing ground. There's so much energy and there's so much adrenaline in this situation. You have to be absolutely clear when it comes to what you're communicating. All right. So we have an intentional plan when we approach the vehicle to extract the individual. Clear communication of the individual, any kind of information ahead of time of that individual. That plan is executed. Granted, if that plan doesn't fall in place, you have the backup plan. Hey, we're going to be following this guy. Get ready. Whatever. We're going to be in pursuit. If you're in pursuit, you stay calm, call it out, direction, speed, traffic, or whatever it is that your department does. And then when we get to the golden moment, everybody stay on top of their P's and Q's. Let the golden moment of detaining this person, don't muddle it by yelling F this or S this or hey, a-hole. Don't do that. Because now that these officers may have done decent work, had that guy hearing everybody yell at him and all these different things and curse words, it just completely just will confuse them. If one person says, get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground, and that's it, that's all they're hearing is get on the ground, they're more likely to retain that and follow that instead of you having to use force. But if you're muddling it with get on the ground, show me your effing hands, don't even try it, a-hole, that kind of stuff, come on, man, that's not going to help. And then with some departments like mine, you're probably going to have to get an administrative investigation for using a curse word. That's the way things are these days as far as community policing, but it's not necessary. Not in this situation. The only time I can think of it being necessary is if you have somebody who's standing there and you want to talk to them, or they're being detained but they're not in handcuffs or something, and maybe they're in handcuffs or standing there. You need them to sit down. Sir, sit down on the curb. I need you to sit down on the curb. And then it's like, okay, this person who's probably from a rough neighborhood or understands the value of a curse word can say, hey, get on your butt right now Oh, my bad, man. Okay, because like you can't sit there sometimes with these individuals, these criminals, or these people that live in these rougher neighborhoods and go, "Sir, I need you to place your bodice upon the ground to where we can detain each other." No, that doesn't work. Sometimes you have to use that. I would rather use that then than use force, because what's more lasting? Me just dropping the F-bomb to emphasize what I'm saying to you, or me putting you to the ground and you smacking your face on the curb. In that situation, that could be justified. But this, come on, man. So this is the kind of stuff that we can really tighten up. Like if somebody just sees this and they're able to tighten it up, just one police officer, and it just removes the whole possibility of administrative or civil litigation. Like, please, you don't want to go through that. I wasn't in anything major, but I talked about it on my podcast. Just simply arresting somebody, putting them in handcuffs. It was a whole thing as far as civil liability that happened after I got out. I don't want any of you guys to go through that. Just follow that simple step there. I'm not cursing out and having a plan in place, and you'll probably achieve it. I mean, it's highly likely. So, wanted to talk about this real quick. I appreciate your attention. Be sure to check out our podcast. It's the links down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So, stay safe. We love you. God bless. Do something good today.